We, or maybe I should more accurately just say I, used to think air pollution was only recognized as a serious problem in the 20th century, if at all. I mean, it wasn't that long ago, well, perhaps more years ago than I'd like to admit, that when studying engineering, I had a class called air pollution, where the sole concern was how to do the minimum to adhere to legal standards, rather than, thinking about how to keep our air clean. Of course, concerns about the quality of the air go back way farther than my school days, but this book goes back all the way to 1661 and is generally considered the first book on air pollution. It's pretty amazing. Let's take a look. It's called Fumifugium, which can be translated as smokehouse, or The Inconvenience of the Air and Smoke of London Dissipated. He's being a bit understated, calling the inconvenience of air, as we will soon see. It's written by John Evelyn, one of the founding members of the Royal Society, and as you can see, it's dedicated to His Sacred Majesty, in this case, Charles II. It's worth taking a look at this dedication to King Charles. We can see what he's talking about. It's pretty gruesome. It was one day, as I was walking in Your Majesty's palace at Whitehall, that a presumptuous smoke, like how the smoke is presumptuous, issuing from one or two tunnels near Northumberland House and not far from Scotland Yard, did so invade the court that all the rooms, galleries, and places about it were filled and infested with it, and that to such a degree as men could hardly discern one another for the cloud. Think about that. You can't recognize the people you're in the room with because of the cloud of smoke. Is he exaggerating? Well, maybe, but that's pretty bad. He goes on and on. This is good. Your Majesty, who is a lover of noble buildings, gardens, pictures, and royal magnificences, must needs desire to be freed from this prodigious annoyance, and which is so great an enemy to their luster and beauty that where it once enters, there can nothing remain long in its native splendor and perfection. And then look at this, he talks about health problems. Nor must I forget that illustrious and divine princess, Your Majesty's only sister, late being in this city, did in my hearing complain of the effects of smoke, both in her breast and lungs, while she was in Your Majesty's palace. So it's a very serious problem when she goes on. He actually explains why is London so much worse than other places, Italy and France, etc. And it's divided into three parts. The first part identifies the problem. And as you got a hint of in the dedication there, he pulls no punches. He calls London the suburbs of hell. It's so bad and so dangerous. And, this is important, air is the vehicle of the soul. So if the air is bad, everything's bad. So the first part lays out the problem. And then the second part starts talking about solutions. And one of the solutions is move industry away from London and population centers. That makes sense. And then part 3, which I find particularly interesting, right here, is the advocacy for green spaces. Sounds pretty modern to me. So 1661, air was very bad in London, and John Evelyn wanted to do something about it. Have we learned from Evelyn? I mean, here I am right now in Midtown Manhattan, as you see. Do I feel like I'm in the suburbs of hell? Well, hardly. But I wouldn't mind some more green spaces either. Thank you. Please don't hesitate to reach out with any questions.